Welcome, welcome, Planeswalkers. Thyrix6, your ringleader, back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. Be sure to head over to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a great deal, and it helps support the show. Anyway, today, we are playing some Rakdos Spectacle as a part of our budget series. Alright, that's enough of that. Anyway, as I said, today is the Rakdos mechanic, the Spectacle, the budget version. I did have a couple people say comments about the budget mindset in Arena, and I do recognize that I'm able to spend money on the cards because I get, ad revenue and stuff, and it just goes back into the channel. Not everyone can, so I understand that having a large number of uncommons might actually be relatively difficult for some people to get, but my plan with this, I realized I didn't actually say it last video, is that these are a base not only for the mechanics, but also I try to make them a base for other decks, even if they're not like tiered decks, but other decks that you can upgrade over time, right? So yesterday's deck was kind of the base for an Aristocrats deck. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's something you can build toward. Today's deck is, I mean, for what it's worth, it's like already decent, to be honest. But this builds towards not only an upgraded Spectacle deck, but there are just a few rare cards that if you get them, you can slot them in, and you'll have just a Rakdos aggro deck, and that's really strong right now. Usually aggro decks are very popular during the beginnings of new formats because it's very difficult for everyone who's playing control or midrange to know exactly what threats they need to answer. So, my goal with these is like threefold, I think. It's X-fold. I definitely want to show off each of the guild mechanics in a budget-friendly way, as well as allow people to potentially upgrade them, still utilizing those guild mechanics, or have them as an off-board onto a similar but, evolved form of the deck, right? So the Grow Riot deck, it's going to turn into like a green-red midrange. The Azorius deck, hopefully there's going to be enough pieces in there that it's going to have something from it. That one has been hard to do. And Adapt, hopefully that's going to go into a more like blue-green mid-rangey style deck that hopefully when you're crafting for these cards, the majority of them aren't wasted crafts, right? So that's kind of the mindset that I have in structuring these decks as such. And it's still, evolving. Totally, if you guys have any questions or criticisms or comments about the way I do these budget mechanics decks, please feel free to let me know, because I plan on doing this for like every set that comes out, because I really, really love making the budget decks and upgrading them. It's a ton of fun. Anyway, that's kind of enough talk for for this Rakdos video. As you can see, this is a really, really low to the ground deck. This is an aggressive deck, as you will see on my channel, frankly. The average CMC is 1.95. And we're running 21 lands. The only reason we're running 21 lands and not 20 is because I swear that the draw algorithm is broken. Because at 20 lands, I just have no opening hands that have 2 lands in them, like ever. And at 21, I end up flooding sometimes. So it's frustrating, but 21 is probably where you should be. We run 10 1-drops. And the point of all of these 1-drops is to make sure that beginning of the game, middle of the game, end of the game, we can trigger Spectacle, right? Fanatical Firebrand has haste. It can attack as soon as it comes down, or you can sacrifice it and ping your opponent, triggering Spectacle. Footlight Fiend, it doesn't have haste, which is unfortunate, but you can attack with it, and either it gets through and deals the damage, or if it dies from being blocked, you can ping your opponent, triggering Spectacle. And then, of course, 10th Street Dodger has haste, so you can attack with it as soon as it comes down, and you can make it so that it can be blocked, except by creatures with Defender. So unless you're playing against, like, a Defender deck, most creatures aren't going to be Defenders. So it's pretty much guaranteed damage. There was one card that I was trying to think about. It was Spewer. I think it's decent. I just preferred the 10th Street Dodger in my testing. Your testing might be different. For what it's worth, one's a common, one's an uncommon. I think they're pretty much just the same level of value. These are both common, so it's very nice. But if you don't have 10th Street Dodger and you don't want to spend wild cards on them, Spewer is totally fine. On our 2-drop slot, we have 4 Viashino Pyromancers. These come down and they deal a guaranteed 2 damage. It's fantastic. You can attack with it. If it dies, who cares? Fireblade Artist. This card is so good. That's why it's the thumbnail for this video. This card is stellar. It has haste already, which is fantastic. But if your opponent puts up walls, as long as your creatures aren't dying, you can every turn just sack creatures you don't need, right? You can sacrifice a Footlight Fiend and ping your opponent for 3 total. thus, of course, triggering Spectacle. You can sacrifice a Viashino Pyromancer that is no longer able to attack because your opponent has like some X1s or something, dealing 2 more damage. It's an utterly fantastic card, and at the end of it, you can sacrifice itself. Very, very powerful card. Sovereign's Bite, I'm including a 1-of, essentially because sometimes you're going to go up against the mirror, and sometimes you need to gain some life. So Sovereign's Bite is a nice way to deal damage by itself. It's essentially just another Lightning Strike, and it does work with Spectacle, I believe, because they just have to lose life, right? Yeah, it's loss of life, so this does still work. I will say this was a late edition. I initially had Rakdos Firewheelers, but I wanted to just trim the deck down a little bit. If we do hit 4 mana, then we can Carnage or something. But in general, I liked the cheap aspect of this card. Lightning Strike, usually want to send it to their face, but if you have to, it can kill like a Wild Growth Walker in a pinch. If your opponent resolves a Wild Growth Walker, you probably have lost, to be honest. But Lightning Strike, it's a just decent value card. You can probably tell I'm not talking about the individual picks in this deck nearly as much as I did with the Afterlife deck, because this is a very straightforward deck. Not to say it's mindless, some might say that, but I wouldn't, because you really want to make sure you're sequencing your plays properly. You want to play around board wipes as best you can, and you want to maximize your damage output. And that comes a lot in with Hackrobat. Hackrobat, you're almost always playing for 2, right? This is essentially a 2-mana 2/3 that has extra abilities. You can give it Death Touch, which is really nice. This doesn't have to be attacking to give it Death Touch, which is good to know. If your opponent is playing a large green deck, you can keep this as a blocker and threaten to kill one of their attacking creatures attacking you. Or you can attack with it, and either you threaten them blocking with a large creature and you killing it with Hackrobat, or threatening them taking 4 damage, which is a good amount. But besides that, it is just like it's just 2-mana 2/3. It's a very strong card early on. Light Up the Stage is like the actual bread and butter of this deck. Light Up the Stage is easily the best Spectacle card in this specific deck, because it allows you to guarantee land drops for the most part. It allows you to get more gas. Drawing Light Up the Stage into Light Up the Stage is just chef's kiss, as it's called, but the ability to go, turn 1 Footlight Fiend into turn 2 Light Up the Stage, play a land from Light Up the Stage. Maybe you got 2 lands. You can play those lands. On that turn, play the land from Light Up the Stage. On the next turn, play that other land from Light Up the Stage. You have 3 lands, and you can do whatever you want with it. It's fantastic. When you cast this card, be sure to not play a land before you play this. The reason being is that if you get lands, you want to make sure you can actually play them. This card essentially says 1 mana, draw 2 cards in red. It's real good. Skewer the Critics. This has 1 mana, deal 3 damage. This is Lightning Bolt, or I guess it's lava spike. You hit your opponent, and then you hit your opponent some more. You just burn your opponent. That's all you want to do in this deck. You burn them to death. Carnival. We're playing this essentially for Carnival, because Carnival just kills their 1-drop creature and hits them, turning on a Spectacle. Right. So let's say they go first. They play turn 1 Elf. You can just hit turn 1 Carnival. You get a little bit of damage. You kill their creature. It's nice. On turn 2, you can play Fireblade Artist, or maybe play a Fanatical Firebrand into a Light Up the Stage. It just slots in so many nice places. Absolutely fantastic. And if you get to the point where you want to Carnage, where you need that just extra oomph, then you can. The discard almost never matters, because your opponent is either dead by then, or your opponent has probably stabilized and you're not going to do well. This is the mana distribution I have. I did get a comment that suggested including a single one of the tap lands, because those come with the new player experience decks. However, if I recall correctly, Dragon Skull Summit is not in the red-black deck. They might have changed that, but when I got the red-black deck, that was the only one that didn't come with any of the with a rare land. So for the rest of the decks, I am going to include a single of the buddy land, the dual land here. But for this one, I don't think I can, because unless they changed it, they didn't have it. I do want to talk about some of the other potential includes that I chose to gloss over, as it were. Vicious Conquistador is essentially guaranteed damage. It's a 1 mana 1/2, which is very nice. It can attack, and if it dies, that's fine, because you still force them to lose a life. The reason I'm playing it, I'm not playing it over the others, is because Firebrand, if it needs to, can ping a creature. Footlight Fiend, if it needs to, it can ping a creature. And 10th Street Dodger, it can dodge things and keep attacking more often. So that's kind of my rationale. Gitu Lava Runner. This is one of those cards that the actual Rakdos burn decks are running. It's a wizard, which works really nicely with Wizard's Lightning, another card that I'll talk about in a second. But in general, I wanted to make sure my 1-drops had guaranteed damage, essentially in any stage of the game. This can get haste later in the game, but if your opponent does have blockers, right, that doesn't help you do anything, right? It doesn't give you guaranteed damage, whereas the others do. Spear I talked about. Lava Coil, this is a card that if you want, you can play. It does slow you down a decent bit, but, you know, if you have things that you need to kill, maybe you just don't want to go super burn heavy, then you can play this. I don't personally recommend it, but you can. Wizard's Lightning, this is, as I said, something that other people play with the Gitu Lava Runners. It works out because Pyromancer is also a wizard. That said, since we aren't running the Lava Runners, it's kind of not worth running the Wizard's Lightning because it too often costs 3. Rakdos Roustabout, hilariously, this costs too much, right? Essentially, our 3-drops are never cast for 3 mana. If we're casting our 3-drop for 3 mana, it's not great, right? This is guaranteed damage because if it becomes blocked, it still hits, it still pings your opponent. But a 3-mana 3/2 that doesn't have haste is not what we want, which is the weirdest thing to say. Firewheeler, I had initially in the deck, but I essentially never cast it, so that's why I took it out. It is functionally guaranteed damage, though, because as soon as you cast it, you can ping a creature and your opponent, but I found that it was just better to go with the lower to the floor deck. And it might look like I've only played, I've only won 1 video today in practice, but I practiced a ton yesterday with this deck because I was having a ton of fun with it. So yeah, I didn't deign to practice too much today. That said, I'm going to go over here. Cool. MST Hardboiled. I do not know what that means. That said, we have a good hand. We have a turn 1 Tin Street Dodger into turn 2 Hackrobat. Or potentially turn 2 Light Up the Stage. I'm not sure which I want to do. Opponent did mulligan. It's always nice to see for us. I did bump my mic earlier. Apologies for that. They scratched at the bottom. Very good to know. You're not going to make friends playing this deck. This deck is strong and fast, and it takes advantage of your opponent playing things like that untapped. They didn't play untapped. So I could light up the stage now, but I think what I want to do is save that light up the stage for refueling. I think now I just want to get out the Hackrobat. So I'll go ahead and attack for 1. Opponent already at 18. So nice. Cast that Hackrobat for 2. Next turn I could even, like, light up the stage into... Probably into Viashino Pyromancer, to be honest. Just because Fireblade Artist I usually do end up playing, not last, but because it has haste, you can kind of slot it in later than you otherwise would need to. Yeah, so I think I am going to attack here and then light up the stage before I end up actually casting anything. I could utilize Hackrobat's ability, but I don't think I'm going to. My opponent very, very possibly has some sort of value. That's, let's see, so if they have Spell Pierce, I would need to play through the mountain. Like, I would need to play my mountain first. If they have Syncopate, I can still pay for this, so I'm fine doing this. They could have Quench. Quench, I'd have to pay through the mountain. But if they cast a counterspell on this, okay, cool, they didn't. So this is, I mean, this is fantastic. That's exactly why you end up doing that. We played 1 card from our hand, and we got a land, and we got a card. Syncopate for 1? Absolutely fine. So next turn we can play... Oh, interesting. They're playing Jeskai. Well, that does make my life a little bit harder, for sure. That said, I think I'm just going to, like, double Pyromancer them, and then start sacking things with Fireblade Artist. My opponent is playing Knight of Grace and Syncopate. That's very strange to me. So they could play a Deafening Clarion, but it's very strange. Not Rekindling Phoenix. All right. Sure, I mean, they have blockers. Have fun with them. Ooh, I can Carnage them actually. So this has Pro Black and this is Black and Red, so I can't Carnival this. But I think I'm just gonna Carnage them. It deals 3, puts them to 8. And they have to discard cards. Yeah, I mean, I think this is just nice for the race. Just dome them a bit. Next turn, I can make this unblockable, attack in, play like both of these, and then just start pinging them to death. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think this is totally fine. I could start attacking, but honestly, I don't think I need to. If my opponent Clarions for life gain, and just life gain, and then they attack. Is there a way that goes super poorly for me? I mean, it doesn't get rid of our board, so honestly, I think it's fine if they decide to super attack, right? Because then I can just attack them back for pretty much the same amount of mana, so. Chain Whirler is awful, though. They're playing Jeskai with Chain Whirler? What? Alright, I think I'm just going to Carnage them again. Maybe I should play the Fireblade Artist and Fiend first. Nah, I want to get whatever's in their hand out of their hand. Put them to 5. Lob Coil? Sure. Alright. So, theoretically, Fireblade Artist should be able to end the game before they can kill us. I can go ahead and just not block. Interesting. Is there a way for me to... I guess... Let's see. Darn, I don't think there's a way for me to actually do that great here. I think I just honestly Fireblade Artist. I could attack with both. So I could attack with both. One gets blocked. If my opponent has a counterspell, then I'm kind of screwed if I take that line. But we're Rakdos. We YOLO, man. I think that's the correct block. Well, actually, maybe not. Alright, so we're going to attempt to skewer my opponent. Does it resolve? Don't you dare. Darn. That's fine, though. As long as I don't die, my opponent's dead. I guess they could kill Fireblade Artist, but theoretically, my opponent's still dead. They can attack me with everyone here. I block the Chain Whirler. I deal 1 damage to them. And as long as Fireblade Artist lives to my upkeep, I sacrifice Fireblade Artist to itself, and it deals 2 damage to my opponent. That is the plan. And we are victorious. Looks like our opponents didn't enjoy the show. I have no idea what that voice is supposed to be. It's just like my circus. That's like just like my Rakdos person. I have no idea. I'm so bad. Macro Kairos. Come on down. Once again, 10th Street Dodger into Hackrobat. We're going second, so it actually might be better for us to Carnival into Pyromancer. I'm not sure. Depends, of course, on what our opponent plays. If our opponent's mono blue, Carnival's really nice. But they play nothing, which means we go ahead and 10th Street. Now, this very well could be the mirror, essentially. The kind of like the Rakdos aggro mirror. Or just could be mono red. Mono red is going around as well. So it could be that. Let's see if they shock our Dodger. They do. Alright. So they spent a burn spell on my creature. Incredibly, incredibly rude. No. Blue-red. I don't like that living. I really don't like that living, but I feel like it's correct to just try and kill my opponents. We have 2-4. Math is hard. 7 damage in hand. It's actually not a ton. I think I'm going to go ahead and try this first. Yeah, this matchup might be hard. I actually haven't faced... I assume this is Drakes. I haven't faced a Drake deck yet during this rotation, but yeah, no, this is Drakes. This might be a bad matchup. Search, sure. See if they decide to take the Dabblage here. Got a Fireblade Artist, very nice. I do think it's better to just attack first and then play a Hackrobat. I assume my opponent would block the Fireblade Artist, right? Is that a trade I'm willing to make? No, I think Hackrobat's too important for the longevity. And I think we do just pass the turn here. Luckily, our opponent is down to 3 cards, not 4 when they draw. And they're still going to need to amass... They're going to need to amass a board against us. We might have to start not being able to attack, but for what it's worth, the fact that Hackrobat gets Death Touch makes them casting a Crackling Drake here not actually that great. Crackling Drake, sure, I can attack you, and if you decide to block, I can kill it. It won't be attacked with Pyromancer, of course, because Pyromancer does just die. Another Fireblade Artist, not bad, not bad. Pretty easy attack with Hackrobat here. And before damage, since my opponent does not have any mana up, I'm going to take advantage of the extra damage I can deal. And I think I'm going to start playing Fireblade Artist and sacrificing my Pyromancers, just to deal a little bit of extra damage. Fireblade Artist obviously could die, but we have potentially like 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, theoretically, we have lethal on them eventually. Which is whether or not we'll be able to get there. Our opponent does not yet have any Drakes in the grave. They still only have 1 Drake in the ground. So probably going to start blocking Hackrobats with Electromancer. That was probably not the correct Lava Coil. Do they attack with Crackling Drake? Bold. Now I want to attack. Yeah, honestly, here I think I want a Lightning Strike. The Electrum. I'm gonna go and decline this turn. Yeah, that makes my choice, I think, a little bit easier. But do I attack with both and then strike one of them? No, I think the decision is strike this, force their hand on the Pyromancer block. I guess I have another Fireblade Artist. I lose technically 2 damage here, but I am forcing them to take out the Electromancer. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then I just play this Pyromancer. For 8. Maybe I should have played the other Fireblade Artist instead. It would have done the same, except I would have had an active Fireblade Artist. Yeah, well, for what it's worth, they would have had Beacon Bolt on it, so... Down to 8. I can Carnage them. I mean, they do have to kill me. I think my opponent is actually correct attacking me here. They don't decide to Beacon Bolt. Very interesting. Do I attack first or do I Carnage first? I guess I'll attack first. I don't need to give them any help with counterspells, although to be fair, I don't think they really have any. So they're on 6. They'll go down to 3 as long as this resolves, and it does. Problem is I'm dead in 2 turns, and I don't have a Fireblade Artist out. So I do need to top deck a Lightning Strike or a Skewer the Critics. I have 7 total in the deck. Is there anything else that works? So this gets to attack. So the thing is, they also need to not die. So they can't really attack me safely. As Kanta does not matter too much. I don't know if there's really anything that they can do in this situation. They have to kill me now. They have 2 mana. They could play op. This goes to 7. Nope. All right, fantastic. And we have light up the stage. Yeah, we have enough mana, so I think I'm going to cast this first. Try and kind of like bait out like a counterspell or something. All right. I'm going to attack. Maybe this was a mistake. Because this deck doesn't play counterspells, right? I don't remember. You fool! All right. So, now I have full access. I can just light up the stage. Yeah, that's fine. I've got you right where I want you. It's the wrong card! It's the wrong card! I thought it was Skewer the Critics. It's fine. We're still alive. Hopefully. Oh, man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I get these two cards confused. Oh, gosh. All right, that was an oopsie on my part. All right. So he still needs... Let's see. So this... It's okay. Opt. Puts it to 9. This puts it to 10. So I should still be alive. This puts it to 10. Alright, yeah, I assume... Yeah, I'm dead then. Because that puts it to 10, that puts it to 11. Gosh dang it. The mistakes were made. Could I have played that differently? Let's see, if I'd cast Light Up the Stage first. No, for what it's worth, I actually don't think that matters. Right, so if I cast Light Up the Stage first, I would have gotten those two. And it only had 2 mana. Right, I don't think there's anything I could have done there. That was a very close game. I definitely think we could have... We probably could have won that somewhere. Sorry about my is it plosive? Is that the word I'm looking for? I think it is. This hand is fine. We're going second. Unfortunate, but we can kill something and then into 2/2 drops. This is definitely a hand we could flood out. But hopefully we don't. Kind of all I can say. Hopefully we don't. Of course we're going to. Gonna go ahead and play the Dodger first. Maximize damage. We're also not running that many swamps, so kind of strange. Up against a Grixis of some sort. Are you serious, deck? We have 9 total swamps in the deck. And 20... Math is hard. 21 lands. We have a fourth of our total lands in... Like, not even... What? 6 of our deck? I can't do basic math. Don't make me do math. 10% of our deck? I don't know. Hopefully it's fine. We can definitely cast Carnage, but kind of annoying. Hackrobat's good. Light Up the Stage is fine. Yeah, any of those would be nice to have. We kept a 3-land hand, and we drew nothing but lands. I mean, we're gonna keep the Carnage to try and force them to discard. They could play like Nicol Bolas, but at least Dodger gets around it. As Kenta, sure. I mean, they're giving us time. Our opponent should be dead, right? Like, it's kind of ridiculous. Drawing 3 lands in a row in a deck that we run 21 lands in. Alright, please don't draw another land. I'll be very sad. Alright, that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and Carnage while they don't have counter magic up. So we get them down to 8. This is math is hard. 5 on board. So they discarded Niv. Sulfur Falls. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Treasure map, they can flip map. Put that on the bottom. Alright. So they can flip map during their upkeep. Decided not to. Bolas, that's... Fun fact, friend, that's fine. I mean, while they're... I mean, they get the flip Ascanta, but while they're down on the ability to counterspell me, I think that's correct. They can flip their Bolas, but, like, what are they going to do with it? I can attack with Footlight Fiend, like, it's guaranteed damage. By the way, since I drew nothing but swamps, there was no way for me to be able to, like, play a land and do this. I'm probably going to keep one swamp in my hand just in case they force me to discard. But do I attack here with Footlight Fiend? I don't think I do. No, I think I just passed the turn. So theoretically, as long as my opponent doesn't have a counterspell, they should be dead, right? So we can make Tin Street unblockable. We can attack them with Footlight Fiend. I guess Vraska's Contempt helps. So we're gonna go and play this. I think we'll cast this first because that'll let us know what we need to do with our creatures. All right, so they're down to 2. I mean, yeah, I think the correct decision is to try and go for this route. They're definitely outs. Moment of Craving, Vraska's Contempt, all of those things are things they can do. They get to scry potentially into it, but nope. Okay, cool. Whew, that was a game. These games are usually quick, so I will play another one. It's an effective deck. Even the game we lost, the one game we've lost so far, was a game that we were very close to winning, but I probably misplayed. This is a game that we can't Hackrobat on turn 2, unless we draw into it. But this is theoretically a fine hand, as long as we don't keep drawing. As long as we don't keep drawing lands, he says as he draws a land. Let's see what this is. Oh, it's this deck. Okay. Well, that's a little frustrating. I think I'm going to Pyromancer my opponent's face. I also don't know how good the mono blue deck is. So I can try to, like, lightning strike them, but I'm not sure if that's correct. I think this is probably... What? Why am I drawing lands? Also, they're playing red as well. What? I'm gonna cast Firebrand, I think. And then just attack my opponent. They can't Trickster me, because Trickster's double blue. Lightning Strike, that's fine. Fanatical Firebrand will get through, and I'll play a Hackrobat. You know what? I probably should kill the Siren Storm Tamer. This is, let me know in the comments what you guys would do. I think it's correct to kill the Storm Tamer now that their shields are down. I legitimately don't know. But I have no idea how heavily they were relying on Storm Tamer. Because I don't know what this... Like, this isn't mono blue, right? I don't know exactly what this deck is. Mystical Carol. That's real strange. I think that's real strange. Light up the stage. Very nice to see. I feel like they're not going to block this. Like, it's a strange block. Alright, cool. So I can light up the stage. And I can pay for Syncopate. So that's why I'm doing it now. And if I get a land, I'd rather play the land from the light up the stage. Because I could get 2 lands, and I'd rather play both of those. Alright, so we'll go ahead and play this. Then we'll hack... So, alright, sure, that's fine. So I was probably going to Hackrobat first to play around specifically Syncopate. They might have had Quench. Quench is something that's probably going to be strong in these blue decks, but I was going to do it like that, just so you guys know. You know what, I have another gold. Go ahead and Pax, gold, Pax. Fantastic. I think that was a nice show. I think I put on a good spectacle for you guys. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I'm a little sad that I didn't do the voices for the other guilds, but I think for the rest of them, I'm gonna try to do some sort of weird, like, opening a skit, just because it's fun. It was a really fun thing to do. I'm sure some people hate it, but it was fun. I don't know. I'd like to thank my lovely patrons for their continued support, especially Salamander and Zaraga. If you'd like to join them in supporting the channel, you'll find links to that down in the description below, along with links to my Discord server and my Aetherweb account, where I've been keeping these decks, and I'll continue to post and update deck lists. If you'd like... No, wait, yes? If you liked this video, go ahead and tap that like button, add a subscription to your mana pool, and cast a comment to the comment section down below. And until next time, all will be one. Alright, I'm gonna stop now.